Okay guys, and what I want to do in this video is kind of finish off the short number but lengthy videos on international economics, okay? So the final one is that of the terms of trade, all right? And lucky enough, it's rather short in and of itself. So what we've got here is we've got a few, so we'll just read the question. The following table shows Botswana's terms of trade between 2007 and 2010 as an index number, and the base year is the year 2000. So it's all compared to the year 2000, okay? So we've got 2007 to 2010 there. The first question is, state the formula used to measure the terms of trade. Well, what we've got here is just simply TOT, or terms of trade, is the index, okay? It's an indexed value of export prices, and that's divided by an indexed value of import prices. Okay, and that's multiplied by 100 over 1. And that's simply all it is. And you'll be given these indices and stuff like that. And basically, if the number is below 100, that means that imports on average are more expensive than our exports. They're worth more than our exports. They're a higher value compared to our exports. And if it's over 100, which none of these are, well then the opposite is true. Our exports sell for a higher price than our imports do, okay? Now, outline the meaning of the terms of trade. Well, this is what it is, okay? So the terms of trade shows the volume of imports attainable by a country per unit of exports. Now, that's enough for one of them, okay? That's enough for a definition. So it shows how much imports a country can get for 1 unit of its exports. Now, I know you could be exporting like coal and, for argument's sake, I don't know, really expensive computers. But if we average it out, which is what the index here is, and that's what we're saying, index of average export prices divided by index of average import prices. So we get a per unit value, an average per unit value. That's what we mean by that. So the terms of trade shows the volume of imports that people in a country can buy per unit of the value of its exports. It is also the rate at which exports of a country are exchanged for imports. And that's also true. And again, it's all averaged out. Okay, so please do keep that in mind. Now, so what do we have here, right? Well, this is a little bit of flipping back and forth. Calculate the percentage change in Botswana's terms of trade between 2007 and 2008 and between 2008 and 2009. Right, well, the very first thing I'm going to do here now is I'm going to say 2007, the terms of trade is 98.6, and I'll show you where I get that in a second, and 2008 terms of trade is 80.57. So if we look here, 2007, 98.61, and then 2080.57. I actually will just put the 1 in here, guys. Forgive me. Okay, so what we've got now is, and we've got the percentage change in any value, just to be clear, it doesn't have to be terms of trade, but is the second value minus the first over the first multiplied by 100 over 1. Okay, well, the second value is 80, so I'm just going to go terms of trade, percentage change, okay, equals. So it's this one here, which is 80 minus 0.57 minus 98.61. All of that is divided by the first number, which is 98.61, and that's multiplied by 100 over 1. Okay, so when we take this away from this, I'll just go TOT, this is 2007, 7 percentage change. Okay, so what we get is minus 18.04 over 98.61 multiplied by 100 over 1, which equals minus 1,804 over 98.61. Okay, and what I get here is this equals minus 18.29. Now what that means is terms of trade worsened by 18.29%. Okay, and what that means is essentially is that a value of our exports, or more accurately, of course, Botswana's exports in 2007 would be worth, or would buy, 18.29% less imports in 2008. Right, so the next one now is we've got the terms of trade in 2008. 8 equals 80.57, like up the top. And then we've got the terms of trade in 2010, okay, and that equals 84.57. And where am I getting that number from? Well, I'm getting that number right back here, 84.57, which is given to us in the table. Okay, so now we're just going to go TOT percentage change. Well, that equals 84.57 minus 80.57. Is that right? Yeah, okay, pretty cool. All right, all over T1, which is 80.57, multiplied by 100 over 1. So what that equals then is 4 over 80.57 multiplied by 100 over 1. What that equals then is 400 over 80.57. And what I have worked this out is 4.96%. And what that is, TOT improved. Excuse me, just move up here so you can see the last bit. TOT improved by 4.96% between 2008 and 2010. Okay, that's what that means there. That means an average, a unit of our exports bought 4.96, almost 5% more imports in 2010 than it did in 2008. Okay, so using appropriate terms, what do we have here? Yeah, using appropriate terms, describe the changes in Botswana's terms of trade between 2007 and 2008, and then 2008 and 2010. Well, the first change is a big minus figure here, and the second change is a plus figure there. Okay, so from 2007 to 2008, the terms of trade for Botswana deteriorated or worsened or experienced an unfavorable change. That's its minus. That means that the average unit of our exports bought less imports than it did previously. And then from 2008 to 2010, the terms of trade for Botswana improved or experienced a favorable change. Okay, now, what are we on to now? Okay, 2A, excellent. Okay, so now consider another country, Sweden. The following table illustrates the indices of average export and import prices between 2009 and 2011. Okay, so let's have a look at this. All right, now the first thing I'll actually just do is put that there so you can see it's a fraction. Okay, so from 2010, so it says using 2009 as your base here, calculate Sweden's terms of trade for 2010 and 2011. Right, for 2010, what we've got is 93.8, okay, 93.8, okay, over 98.9 multiplied by 100 over 1. Okay, so what we're saying here is the terms of trade is 93.8 in 2010, all right? And then we're dividing that by the index of import prices, which is 98.91. Sorry, that's the index of export prices. And then we're going to multiply that by 100 over 1. What I get then is I get 9,380 divided by 98.9. I'm multiplying top by top and bottom by bottom. And what I get there is 94.83. Okay, I get 94.83. So I'm going to put this here, 94.83. So we can see that the terms of trade have worsened between 2009 and 2010. Right, well, let's find out the terms of trade in 2011. Okay, so I've got the index of export prices, which is 83.56, and I'm going to divide that by the index of import prices, which is 98.23, and I'm going to multiply that by 100 over 1, and I get 8,356 divided by 98.23, just making sure you can see, and I've already worked that out as 85.07. So I'm just going to put my answer 85.07. So it's worsened and worsened again. Okay, that's the first thing I want you to see. Right, now the next thing, describe the meaning of the change in Sweden's terms of trade, okay, between 2009 and 2011. This change means that a greater quantity of exports is required to purchase a single unit of imports than before. So, I mean, what does Sweden, what are Swedish clocks, or is that Swiss? Okay, well, let's say they're exporting, why not, I'll slag myself off as an Irish person, potatoes. And they were giving 100 potatoes for every TV. Now they have to give 105 potatoes for every TV that they're importing. Okay, so their value of exports is now worth less than they were compared to the imports. Okay, now on to the next thing. State 2 possible reasons for a change in the terms of trade of a country such as Sweden. Now, these, of course, are just statements. You don't need to kind of go through them, and I won't waste too much of your time, but changes in demand conditions for exports and imports. If the demand for Swedish exports falls and Swedish demand for imports rises, that could reduce the price of Swedish exports and increase the price of the imports that Sweden imports. Okay, that's a lower numerator and bigger denominator, making it smaller. Changes in global supply of key inputs, such as oil. Well, if the supply will change in the market, ceteris paribus, the price will also change. Okay, changes in relative inflation rates, that will affect the price of the exports and the price of the imports. Changes in relative exchange rates, same again. Changes in world income level leading us back to demand, okay? Changes in productivity leading to changes in supply, which can reduce the price of our exports if we are increasing our productivity and producing more goods. And technological developments, which will also affect the supply of either our exports or their imports, and as such, affect the price. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope that helps, and I hope to see you in the next video.